How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. It's been a minute since we dropped a podcast episode, but we have the ALDS starting tomorrow between the Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. The Royals recently beating the brakes off the Baltimore Orioles. So now we look ahead to a series that's going to be very, very exciting, but the Yankees can win this series. They match up pretty well against the Royals. They have a really good pitching matchup in game one against Wacha, who's a really, really great off-speed pitcher. His changeup is one of the best. Now his fastball is hittable. We're going to talk about his pitch mix, kind of what the Yankees need to do in game one to win this game, but also just kind of the entire series. Ryan wrote a really phenomenal article breaking down the individual players and kind of how the Yankees need to tailor their approach to beating this team. But in the end, it really is going to come down to their star players making a significant impact. Quality starting pitching performances. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, you guys got to lead the path, man. Start up hot and remain hot, because at the end of the day, everyone kind of falls in line when those superstars are playing really, really well. So got to be a full team effort. Everyone's got to be contributing. Can't be a couple guys doing their stuff, but everyone's got to be on fire in the postseason, similar to how the Detroit Tigers are on fire right now. The Yankees need to replicate that, get on fire, and stay on fire. So, Ryan, looking ahead towards ALDS, let's talk about game one. Michael Wacha, looking at Garrett Cole, how do we match up against him?
Yeah, so, looking at how the Yankees have kind of operated this year, they've really struggled against lefties, and that's kind of been the story of this offense. That's been the big thing that everyone hammers out as a flaw, but the Yankees have a top 10 offense in terms of WRC plus against left-handed pitching. They have a top 5 OBP against left-handed pitching. I know a lot of that is driven by Judge and Soto, but, Judge and Soto play for the New York Yankees. You can't go, well, without Judge and Soto or outside of Judge and Soto. No, you have to include that production, because that production, we're talking about the totality of the Yankee offense, right? And the totality of the Yankee offense includes those two guys, and they get the second and third most at-bats in the Yankees. So I think that makes it extra important. Torres is pretty good against left-handed pitching as well. And tying it back to Reagan's actually struggles against left-handed batters. He's a 320 WOBA against lefties that is above the major league average, which means major league left-handed hitters are above average hitters against Cole Reagans on average. Furthermore, his strikeout rate, which is around 28 to 29%, drops to 20.2% against left-handed batters. So that fastball changeup combination, which is devastating against righties, because that change is fading away, it's fading into lefties, and they read that pitch a little more. So, Alex, I find it very interesting. I know Reagan's dominated us, and I expect him to pitch very well in this series. He pitched very well against Baltimore. I do wonder if the Yankees, kind of like how we won that game against him last time, where Soto just ran into one, and the Yankees were able to do enough in the extra inning situations and get a win. I wonder if the Yankees are capable of doing that again against Reagan's. Get some guys on, and it just takes one swing. So, Reagan's, the tough part is, Rodon isn't a better pitcher than Reagan's, although he's pitched pretty well against the Royals, and they have a massive disadvantage against lefties. They have an 84 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. So Reagan's going to be tough to beat. He's going to be tough to beat, but I think the Yankees have ways to do it. I don't think this is completely impossible. I don't think this is an insurmountable opponent. I think that Reagan's is a formidable one, but one the Yankees can beat nonetheless. And that's kind of how I view the Royals as a whole. The Royals are not, dog food. They're not awful. They're not this garbage ball club that you look at them and you go, how the hell did they make the playoffs? They have a great pitching staff. Reagan's, Lugo, Waka, Singer, those are all 4 excellent starting pitchers. The bullpen, when you really shorten it, is a very strong group. Lucas Urkeg, who they acquired at the trade deadline, was a target for the Yankees. He's been brilliant. He throws extremely hard. He is devastating to both lefties and righties, but they can't really hit. They do not hit for much power. So if you can outslug them, you can beat them, even if they have Cole Reagans on the mound.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, this Yankee team, they struggled against Seth Lugo in the last start, but against Reagan's, they've had some success. They could go full lefty game, like lefty bullpen arms, Reagan's. It could be a difficult one for the Yankees to win. But look, in my opinion, you look at this series, right? It's going to be Wacha, and then you have I think Reagan's and then Seth Lugo. That's the first 3 games. If the Yankees win game 1, you set yourself up for a really, really good situation, because now you have an advantage. If you beat Reagan's, now you're up 2-0, and you're going to go around that order once again. You're not going to have to see Lugo again in this one. So even if you lose the Lugo matchup, you're still positioned really well to go back to the top of that rotation and keep winning games. Now, the critical pieces in this offense to me, I mean, I think we know Aaron Judge and Wall step up. We're going to elevate their game. But there's a couple of key players I think have to contribute. Mostly Austin Wells in the cleanup spot. I think that he could be the X factor in this game, like in the series, really the playoffs in general. If he heats up the way he was, a couple months ago, the Yankees offense is going to be really freaking good. I think that the turning point in the order really goes from Wells and then down to the bottom. Obviously, Giancarlo Stanton is the next guy that I want to talk about. If he shows playoff Stanton 3 years ago, we're in a good spot. If he's swinging at sliders, off-speed pitches in the freaking dirt, not even close to the strike zone, and he doesn't look like he can hit anything, we're going to be in trouble in the heart of that lineup because he's going to be an automatic out. And, I kind of think that, people hang sliders to him and he crushes them. But you don't have to throw strikes to Stanton to strike him out. That's the problem at this point in time. Like, you throw the ball, breaking balls outside the zone, he will chase them. He's swinging at anything he thinks could be in the zone because if he makes contact, that thing is going 110-mile-an-hour piss missile over the freaking wall. So, for me, that 4-5 spot is where I'm most concerned. When you get to Jazz Chisholm, we know Jazz is a good player. He's been waiting for the opportunity to play at this kind of level in a postseason appearance. He's going to show up and show out. I think I'm not really worried about him. Volpe will do his thing. He's good. He's bad. He gets on base. He can steal a couple bags. He's a fast runner, athlete. We know what he is. So I'm not going to it really is going to be we'll probably get average Volpe, right? Ben Rice is a big concern for me as well. Can he operate? He's going from a really solid last couple of weeks in AAA to now going from AAA pitching to some of the best pitching in baseball. He's going to be going from, AAA to Reagans and Seth Lugo. That's not easy. So, Ryan, looking at the heart of this lineup, I think Ben Rice probably be way towards the bottom, but that kind of 4-5 spot with Austin Wells and Stanton, that's where the Yankees are going to win games, in my opinion. That's where the Yankees are going to change the course of a game. Those two batters right there. I think that's really where we're going to have to see those two guys step up. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to produce offensively in some respects.
Yeah, it's the Judge and Soto show. It's the Judge and Soto show, and those two need to step up. Ben Rice, the concern for me is defense. What I do know is that he can hit the ball hard, and hopefully hitting the ball hard translates in the postseason the way it did at the minor league level. But it's the Judge and Soto show. They have to hit. They have to perform at a high level. Pitching is better than it is in the postseason than it is regular season. So guys who are fringe above average hitters or, slightly below average hitters, they're going to struggle. They're going to look completely overmatched in the postseason. The average OPS drops dramatically in October compared to the regular season because pitch quality improves. Pitches get better, even think velocity, right? If you were to look at, I don't know, Ian Hamilton's velocity in the regular season compared to the postseason, I wouldn't be shocked if it was up a tick. Same thing with Luke Weaver. Same thing with Clay Holmes. Same thing with any of those guys. In the ninth inning, Aaron Boone is going to go, all right, we're up 2 runs. Let's try Clay Holmes. He's going to be like, we're up 2 runs. We're throwing Luke Weaver. I don't if Clay Holmes comes in the 7th and he puts 2 guys on and gets the next guy out, regular season, Aaron Boone might go, all right, let's see if he can work out of it. Let's see, let's see. In the postseason, man, he puts on 1 guy, and I think Boone already has somebody up and going. The Yankees are going to hopefully manage the series aggressively. I've seen Boone manage very aggressively at the later half of the season, kind of right before this past week of games, when they play the Pirates and Orioles and the games really didn't matter because they had the division on wraps. You're going to see aggressive managing across the league. It's got to be a Judge and Soto show. They've got to show up because what beats really good pitching is really damn good hitting. And you have 2 of the best hitters on planet Earth. It comes down to them. If those 2 don't perform, they won't go anywhere. So, I mean, it's up to them. It really is. I know Stan's part of that equation too, but there is a different level of Soto and Judge are expected to be those guys. If you get something from Stanton, you get something from Wells, get something from Jazz, get something from the other guys, that's great. But they can't make up for what you would lose if Soto and Judge are not on fire.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you need those guys on fire. They're your catalysts, right? They're like the gas in the pedal, and you step the freaking gas on that pedal, they're the ones that are producing. So, looking at this offense in general, I don't see why the Yankees can't win this series. There is no reason they can't beat the brakes off the Royals. It just is Sam's been saying it best. We've been asking ourselves questions about how can the Yankees lose this series? right? How can they fail? And where I immediately point to is Carlos Rodon and either Clark Schmidt or Luis Gil. That is the reason the Yankees will lose the series if they're going to lose this series. It's not because of their offense, in my opinion, or Garrett Cole, or their bullpen, by the way, which has been on fire over the past month. I think Clay Holmes has looked really, really good. I know people are scared of him, but Luke Weaver's been phenomenal. Guys like Jake Cousins is going to be back. He was fantastic before his pec tightness. So, looking at the situation at hand, how much can we trust Carlos Rodon? How much can we trust Luis Gil or Clark Schmidt? And I'll tell you this, Rodon looked good in September. I'll give him that. But at any given start, he could give up 7 earned runs. And you're like, what the hell just happened? Luis Gil, any given day, he could look like an absolute superstar. In the next game, he could look like he's never pitched before. Like that command of his fastball, like he just wakes up with the command, or he doesn't wake up with the command. He's that type of pitcher. I think they roll a Clark Schmidt as the game 3 starter, Ryan, for a simple reason, experience. And they trust that he's a little bit more under control. He didn't get much time coming back from that injury, but the truth of the matter is simply Luis Gil is like, you don't know what version of Luis Gil you're getting on any given day. And if he gets shelled in the first inning, you're in trouble. Clark Schmidt, you can trust to at least get out of trouble at times. And he's pretty consistent for the most part. He's just a matter of like, our batters picking up on it? Is he getting the right, spin rate? Is he getting the right kind of movement on his pitches? If he's on, he creates a lot of weak contact. He strikes out a lot of guys. Luis Gil, either he's striking out guys or he's giving up home runs. And that's kind of where I get a little nervous. I think I'd rather go with Clark Schmidt right now just because I think it's the safer move. But Luis Gil is the more boom or bust move, right? If you want a truly elite start, you're going to go with Luis Gil, but you're also risking it's like a 50-50 shot. You're going to get absolutely nuked in the first inning. So, like, which direction do you go? Ryan, I think that's a discussion that I'll let you have as well. Your confidence in either of those two guys. Who are you willing to roll the dice
on? My pick is going to be Clark Schmidt. I think that he's the guy I would start. Kansas City, they are a bottom 10 offense against cutters. They are really bad against that pitch, especially from the right-handed side. And Clark Schmidt obviously features a great one. The Royals are really bad against non-fastballs. If you filter out four-seamers and sinkers, their offense really struggles. Granted, the rest of the league also struggles against non-fastballs. It's very hard to hit those pitches. I'm not, saying that the Royals have this unspoken disadvantage that nobody's ever figured out, but the rest of the league increased their usage of secondary pitches, so non-fastballs against the Royals, and they dominated the Royals. The Royals were they were terrible. They had the worst WRC plus in Major League Baseball in September at 61, the fewest runs scored. They were just not very good offensively. So I think that Schmidt's cutter profile as well, his breaking balls profile well. I think Gil's slider will play very well in this series. So, I'm not completely opposed to having someone like Luis Gil start. But I also get that the argument of like, all right, well, the Yankees, if you ask me who can get out of a jam in a bullpen role, I understand saying that, hey, Clark Schmidt's a better reliever than Luis Gil is. So maybe the Yankees should have Luis Gil start because the gap between those two as starters maybe isn't large enough to really care about. So that's a conversation that I think is worth having. I don't know how you feel about that, but in terms of like how much should we factor bullpen performance and like throw that into the equation? Like, is it more important to have a good game 3 starter or a great bullpen weapon? I'd argue it's the game 3 starter, but hey, I'm not, I don't consider myself the gospel in terms of sports. I don't think I'm perfect on that stuff. I think that's up for debate. What I would want to point out is that the Royals, who are a contact heavy team, they make a ton of contact. They have a 33.2% whiff rate against sliders from right-handed batters. The Yankees are at 29.4. So there's a pretty sizable gap in contact rates against non-fastballs. And I really do feel, as you mentioned, the matchup screams, hey, the Yankees should do a job here. The Yankees should be able to handle business. There's no reason why the Yankees can't handle business. That kind of stuff. But like, it comes down to execution. And look, it's a 5-game series. Anything could happen. We've seen the Yankees get swept by the Reds. We've seen the Yankees sweep the Phillies. And I don't mean to like throw this as a cop-out if the Yankees don't win, but hey, I mean, the Yankees are a team that, just like everybody else, is bound to postseason variance. If you want to tell me that 2023 Braves team wasn't good, I think you're crazy, and I think you're a foolish person. They lost in 4 games in the first round. If you want to tell me that the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2023 were this all-time great roster because they won the pennant, I would look at you like you're crazy. I would argue that, that there are teams that make the World Series and win the World Series that aren't as good as teams that don't make the World Series. Or I'd argue there are teams that have beaten other teams in the World Series that they weren't better than. Like, you want to tell me the 2019 Astros weren't better than the 2019 Nationals? I think you're crazy for saying that. So, I understand there's variance involved, but end of the day, there's a reason why there are teams who are favored. There are reasons that there are teams that are better. The better team usually can pull out the win. The better team has a higher percentage chance of winning the series than the worst team. It's that simple. And the key to this series is winning game one. You have to win game one. It starts in game one. You lose game one with Garrett Cole on the mound, and Alex, you have to face Cole Reagans down 0-1 and really putting yourself in a bad position.
Yeah, I would say. And listen, you said before, would I rather have a good game three starter or a better bullpen in that, or kind of have, roll with a bullpen game in that, for example? I just think that the Yankees at times this season have found themselves in deficits early in games and had to climb out of them, and they lost the majority of those games. Putting yourself in a deficit in the playoffs it's a mental battle, right? It's a regular season game, whatever. You lose a game, you move on. There's another one. But in the playoffs, you're fighting for your life. And so is the other team. So I think the mental perspective is very different, and you cannot submit early deficits. The Yankees need to pull away in games early, put a run, put 2 runs. It's really about demoralizing your opponent. And look, as you saw the Mets just yesterday or 2 days ago, or yesterday, they had the Pete Alonso walk-off home run. Like, things happen. You turn things around. Those things build momentum. They surge you forward. The Yankees have to be clutch. And the thing about the Yankees this season is they haven't really been that clutch. They either take a lead early and they don't let it go, or they stumble, they give up a couple runs early in the game, and they struggle to come back. They have to be clutch. If they're down 1 or 2 runs, they have to hit big. They need to get home runs. They need to get extra base hits. They have to be explosive and damaging. That is the offense we need to see. This offense cannot lay down and die the second they get into a little bit of a hole. Someone has to drag their asses out. And that someone is actually 2 people. It's going to be Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Those guys are paid, to put up great regular season numbers, but they're paid to drag you through the playoffs because they can hit home runs, because they can make big moments happen. They can capitalize with runners in scoring position. It's a blank sheet for everybody, man. Nobody's stats matter anymore. What you did in the regular season has no impact on what the regular season holds now. It is a clean slate. Everybody starts at 0. So the average is, you look at the regular season, but the mental aspect of the playoffs adds a whole different element. Aaron Judge has historically been a pretty poor playoff contributor compared to his regular statistics. This is the year that he has to flip that script. He has to change that narrative where his playoff contributions are elite. He is never going to be considered. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. But that stain on his career right now is that he does not step up in the playoffs. That's the stain. If he steps up and he dominates and he wills this team to a World Series, he will solidify his legacy forever. And that is what I think the Yankees need to be focused on, is their big players showing up when it matters and solidifying their legacy, especially a guy like Judge, who could go down as one of the best Yankees. And if he does this, will go down as one of the best Yankees to ever live, right? This is the next step in his involvement. This is the next step in his progression as a superstar, not just putting up great regular season numbers, but dominating in the postseason. And I think that is a narrative that we will be watching very closely.
Yeah, and to kind of second that point, the first point you made about offense and kind of the offensive composition here, the New York Yankees hit 237 home runs, the most in Major League Baseball. The Kansas City Royals hit 170 home runs, the 20th most in Major League Baseball. If you want to say, well, the Royals are this, unbelievably scrappy team. They make so much contact, which it's true. The Royals struck out at the 3rd lowest clip in baseball at 19.4%. The Yankees had the 9th lowest strikeout rate at 21.2%. So I would say the Yankees can make a good amount of contact as well. The Yankees have the contact abilities and they hit bombs. The Yankees hit bombs. So as you mentioned, and this now ties into Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has not had a just incredible postseason run where he has been by far the best player in October, the way that you've seen Yordan Alvarez or Bryce Harper. Those kinds of guys really go on tears. Corey Seager last year. I'm just trying to jog on my brain and think of these other dominant playoff runs. I think Corey Seager had another one in 2020 where he was unbelievable. But, that stretch where it is a superstar caliber player, a big money player making big money plays, winning the team a pennant, winning a team a World Series, hitting the home runs, being an absolute stud. Aaron Judge hasn't had that run. He hasn't. That's not a criticism of him in terms of that's not an unfair criticism. That's objective truth. This isn't an opinion. This is a fact. Aaron Judge has not had that postseason run. He's had games. He's had a series. I'm talking a sustained October run. And it makes me think of when there was one guy for the New York Yankees who won 2 MVPs, but was terrible in the postseason. Couldn't hit in October. Was a largely criticized superstar because of it. And that's Alex Rodriguez, who, if you guys remember, in 2009, willed the New York Yankees to the World Series and a World Series victory. Alex Rodriguez has one great playoff run under his belt. One. All the MVPs, all of the WAR, all of the home runs, all of the accolades, all the RBIs, all the hits, everything. He's got 3,000 hits. He's got 696 home runs. All of it. And he has one playoff run to stand for it. But does anyone look at Alex Rodriguez in the year 2024 and go, that guy was a choker? He couldn't handle the big moment. Nope. Even though there were so many times, time after again, 04, 05, 06, 07, 2010, 2011, 2012. I mean, 2012, the Yankees had Raul Ibanez hitting for him. Could you imagine a pinch hitter coming in for Aaron Judge in the postseason? Couldn't imagine it. Couldn't dream of it. Aaron Judge, if he wants to shake that label, he just has to do it once. If he goes on one run, and the Yankees go on and win the World Series, as you mentioned, his legacy as a New York Yankee transcends the legacy that he already has right now, which is one of the greatest Yankees to ever play. If he wins a World Series, Alex, and he continues to have a really strong career, I'm not saying he's got to win 2 or 3 MVPs on top of that, on what he's already done. He's going to have a second. If he has 4 All-Star years, he's pretty good, basically, for the next. He's got, I think he's got 7 more years in his deal. 4 good ones, 2 solid ones, 1 really bad one. First bout Hall of Famer, probably a 70, 80 WAR guy. He'd go down. He's a better player than Jeter is. I'll tell you that right now. He's a better baseball player than Derek Jeter was. I'll say that confidently. But do you know why Derek Jeter right now, you can't even argue who ranks higher in the Yankee pantheon? It's rings. I'll give you 5 reasons why Derek Jeter is ranked higher than Aaron Judge all time. 1996, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2009. Is it fair? No, baseball's a team sport. But that's how New York is. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying, and I think you could, it's just a legacy thing. Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl rings. You mean to tell me that you want to tell me that Eli Manning's he's not statistically that great, whatever? Fine, I don't care. Guess what he's got? 2 Super Bowl rings.
He beat Kirk Cousins.
Where's he going?
If you win it.
But guess where he's going because of those 2 rings? To the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Of course.
You get what I'm saying? I think there's a legacy boost that winning a championship does. I'm not gonna view Aaron Judge as lesser of a player if he doesn't win a ring. I'm not, but I'm gonna tell you that he's not gonna view his career as complete until he has one. And I don't think Yankee fans are either. And I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair to say his career is not complete without a ring because it's the New York Yankees. It's New York. This is what we play for. We play for banners, baby. That's what we play for. And if you're Juan Soto, and I'll tell you this right now, we win a World Series with Juan Soto this year.
Cost a lot of money.
I'm not even just going there. I mean, this does have to do with his free agency. The Juan Soto trade is a success if you win the World Series, regardless of what happens in free agency. He could sign with the Mets, but if you win the World Series with Juan Soto, you won the Juan Soto trade. There is nothing I wouldn't give up for a World Series. Nothing. Nothing I wouldn't trade on a baseball roster for a World Series. Nothing at all. So if you want to say, well, the Padres end up with more WAR with Michael King and Entry Thorpe, and you kind of, no, screw that. The goal is to win a title. So this is for those 2 guys. Soto already has his ring, but if you really want to talk about how we remember them as Yankees, Soto could be a 1-year Yankee. But if he wins the World Series here, every Yankee fan will love him forever. Forever. If you're Aaron Judge, if you win a World Series here, after the 2 MVP years, all the stuff he's done, a great captain, great off-the-field guy, legacy's just, it's enshrined. It's enshrined. So, there's a lot at line legacy-wise for this team, and I hope they will get it done because this has been a fun ride, an up and down ride, a bumpy one, but this is a good team. The Yankees are a good team, man. I don't really care. After this point in time, people are going to form their opinions and rewrite history and tell you that this team was this or that. It's a good team. the flawed team, but it was a damn good team. And they have a damn good chance to win the World Series. Alex, let's go get us a pennant, and let's start here in the ALDS. 4 games, Yankees win. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we need that to happen. Like you said before, I think what I kind of want to throw into your take there on looking at what makes a player really a Hall of Fame caliber one. Eli Manning's career was defined by 2 throws. You know what I mean? A prayer to Jim Tyree and an absolute gem to Mario Manningham on the sideline. That is what defined his career. If you take away those 2 throws and he loses in the championship, Eli Manning's any other quarterback. But instead, 2 throws define his career. And when it comes to baseball, sometimes a couple of swings define your career. You know what I mean? Aaron Judge in the 9th inning in a do or die game, up to bat, down a run or tied, and he hits a walk-off. Those swings define your career in the end because it leads to possible chances at a World Series. It leads to a World Series even. Aaron Judge has to be the best player he's ever been over the next month, right? Unfortunately, that is just the reality of the playoffs. Everyone has to step up. Judge being the leader and face of this organization, he will. I have no doubt he will. And Juan Soto, by the way, is a 25-year-old who's already won a championship and done stupendous things in the playoffs, right? This is a player who knows what it takes to win. He's already been there. Anthony Rizzo, a guy who's already been there. Even if he's not going to be playing, at the very least, he can give this team a lot of insight into what it's going to take. Soto has a 123 WRC plus in the postseason, less than what he's done in the regular season, but still quite better than the average. I think that when you look at this team, what they have at their disposal, youth, veteran leadership, power, slugging, contact. This team is built to win in a postseason situation. And for what it's worth, Ryan, they're pretty healthy right now. They're pretty healthy. Rizzo, you're losing a hot bat at the end of the season, but he's been really, really, really inconsistent, not bad this year. Defensively, we're going to miss him too. We're hoping to God that Ben Rice or Oswaldo Cabrera can step up and at least provide some hits and some power at times and play good enough defense. Nestor Cortez is a major blow, but this team had a lot of pitchers. Like, we have guys that can help step up and offset, although I don't want to even sniff the possibility of using Marcus Stroman. I do not think he should be on this playoff roster personally, unless it's a last resort. So, at the moment, I love our chances. I think that we can beat the Kansas City Royals. But to me, the team that ends up winning a World Series is a team that gets the momentum and gets it and doesn't let it go. Right now, the Detroit Tigers have that momentum. They have that passion. They have that drive. The Yankees need to win game 1 and set themselves up for a dominant run. We need to see that Yankee team that goes on an 8-game winning streak and just mows people down, right? That's the team we need to see. We do not need to see the team that has defensive errors, that doesn't come up in clutch moments, that goes through cold stretches at the same time. We need to see a collective effort here and locked the hell in. This team has to be locked the hell in. And I know one thing, Ryan, who's going to be locked the hell in tomorrow? Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole locks the hell in. He is going to set that tone to start the first inning. You get out of that first inning unscathed. You have an easy 1, 2, 3 inning. You get up your bats. Gleyber Torres has been red hot. Soto, Judge, you put a run on the board. You got to run across the board early against Washington. And then you set yourself up for a much easier path to winning that baseball game. The Yankees sometimes shoot themselves in the foot. That cannot happen in the playoffs. You need to be very disciplined. The Mets escaped by the skin of their teeth yesterday. Pete Alonso dropping that fly ball that should have been a catch ball, and then he makes up for it with that 3-run home run in the 9th inning. Sometimes you escape. Oftentimes you do not in the playoffs. The Mets were extraordinarily lucky that they had an opportunity and Pete Alonso came through. Because plays like that, drop baseballs and easy catches, lose you playoff games. So the Yankees have to be disciplined. They have to play really, really solid and efficient ball. And Ryan, I think that Verdugo is going to start tomorrow because of that, because they need to play disciplined defense. They need just at least competent offensive qualities. And listen, I think Jason offers more offensive upside, but they did not give him enough time to adjust here, in my opinion. And I think that ultimately will be the deciding factor.
Yeah, I think defense is going to really matter in this series. The Royals put the ball in play a lot. They rely on hey, let's get the ball in play. Let's try to make something happen. You can't let them make something happen. You just can't. I'm sorry. You just can't. You just can't. I'm sorry. I love Jason. That's my dude. That's my dog. But I completely understand if the Yankees are like, hey, I don't think he can play the position. And
Next year.
right now, and this year, this is a this year conversation, by the way. Next year, I fully expect Jason Dominguez to be a full time starter. And I expect Jason Dominguez to get starts in this series. I expect him to play. But my concern is Kansas City and New York. That's kind of a concern. What I would also be down for, and I think this could make more sense. You start Dominguez and you pull him if you have a lead, and you put Verdugo in there. Maybe that's something they do. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to line this up, but with the lefty on tomorrow and not Singer, not in the with the righty on tomorrow and Walker with a good changeup, I think it would make sense to go to Jason because even though that change is very good, Walker does struggle against lefties a little more than he does against righties. It's a tad bit more. And then for Reagans, I would go with Verdugo. I think that's my mentality right now because it's a lefty and there are some struggles that Reagans has against some lefties. So it'll be interesting though. That left field conversation I think it'll be ongoing. I think Boone will play the hot hand in October. If Verdugo goes 3 for 4, he'll play the next day. If Jason hits a home run, he'll play the next day. That's all it'll be.
I 100% agree. And that's kind of probably the path we're taking. I think we're going to learn who's the starter today. So, we'll post some stuff about it. You'll see it on our social medias as always, guys. But always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comments. I know it's been a minute since we posted an episode together. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks. A lot of schedule conflicts, but nonetheless, we had to get something out before game 1 tomorrow. I'll probably get some more stuff out as the postseason progresses and hopefully much better conversations and things that quell our concerns rather than raise them. So as I said before, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. 5 stars as always on the Apple Podcast and Spotify. Really appreciate the love as always. Let's freaking go Yankees. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.